Okay, this is where the starter would bolt to on a Chevy 6.5, 6.2. And the previous owner, when I bought this truck, don't know if I can get this in the camera. You can almost see it. They had put 3/8 by 16 threaded bolts in here and jacked up the original threads, which were 10mm by 1.5. A 10mm bolt is actually slightly bigger than a 3/8 bolt. I had thought at the time when I bought this truck that it needed a 3/8 by 16 bolt, so I took the bolts that were in the starter, which had gotten ripped out of the block, and ripped the threads out. You can actually see that helicoil in there now, and I helicoiled it. I just replaced my starter recently and found out that I went on LeroyDiesel.com and they had starter bolts on there for a 6.5. Part number ARP 430-5311, 3511. And you can get them at summitracing.com for like $13. Leroy Diesel sells them for $25. Ordered some bolts, they come in, they were 10mm by 1.5. I was pissed. So what I did, let me get out from underneath here. Oh, so I actually got the new, this is the new 12-point ARP bolt with the 10mm by 1.5. Somebody had put a 9/16 head 3/8-16 bolt in here. So what I did was I went and found a junk piece of metal, this old giant washer or whatnot, and I threaded this to I threaded this hole to a, actually I drilled it out. I drilled this hole to 25/64 and threaded it with the 3/8 helicoil. Then I needed to learn how to extract the old 3/8 helicoil, and then on top of that I needed to figure out if I could re-drill and re-tap this hole for the M12 tap that comes in the helicoil kit for the 10 by 1.5. It can be done. It's actually, I've done enough testing on this that I found another bolt that's a 10mm by 1.5 bolt, and I stuck a helicoil down in here with the little bit of threads that I could actually get, which are actually pretty good. They are actually pretty good threads. And I tried it 4 different times, and tried this bolt in that hole with the helicoil, which isn't in there now because I extracted it, and I was actually able to tighten this bolt so tight that I snapped the head off. So those helicoils held good enough to snap this head off. I'm happy with that. If that can hold my starter in, you know, yippee. Another thing to note is I learned this also. This right here on the bolt is called knurling, and this is actually what centers, if you can see this bolt is going down into the starter here, and it's what centers, that knurling is what centers this bolt. It's got a tight fit. If you go past that, it's sloppy. But if you come up to where the knurling, it's got like little to no wiggle room. Well, this 3/8 bolt, being it's smaller, it can really move around in there, causing my starter to grind. It actually wore out the old starter drive and flex plate. I've had to have a new flex plate put on this truck. So every time you do a starter, you should really replace the bolt, because that knurling, like on this one, you can see it's worn down. It's actually worn down flush with the shank of the bolt. .909192, and then up here 10.6. It's worn down quite a bit. And then on the new bolt here, you should notice a huge difference. We're looking at 9.94 on the shank, 10.16, and the hole on the starter, 10.16. So that bolt is made to fit snug. I hope this helps someone, because I wish I would have had this information at the time. I had to take about a week. And also, another thing, if you don't have money to buy a helicoil kit, because if you go down to your local auto parts store, this helicoil kit is $50. They send you with this tap, which this tap is actually garbage. I've ran this tap into this steel right here, and I've actually ruined this tap just by running it in twice. You can see right here the chips missing out of the teeth. This tap is garbage. So I got myself, I couldn't return that or warranty it, because, you know, they're going to say, oh, you did that yourself. So I went down and I bought an actual M12 by 1.5 tap. 12mm by 1.50, used drill 13/32. And I threaded that in here. I threaded one hole with the original helicoil tap, and I threaded the other hole with the 12mm. Now this helicoil is actually a little bit smaller, like 5/1000ths, if that, from what I could see, but it wasn't enough. Like I showed you, this bolt still broke off just using the 12mm by 1.5 tap. So if you don't have the money, you can go down to the hardware store and you can buy individual helicoils. They're about $1.39 a piece. I bought 2 of them, and you can buy this tap for $8, $8 to $10, depending on where you live, I'm sure. And you're set. Plus a drill bit. A drill bit will run you $7 to $8, unless you buy a set, which is $20 to $30, and that'll last you forever. So hopefully this has helped someone. Thank you for watching.